Welcome to Learning with Mr. Ruck. I'm Mr. Ruck Dashel. Today, we will take a look at the first video in our 4-part series on life during the Civil War. Specifically, we'll look at the town of Chattanooga through the eyes of Reverend Macaulay to get an idea of how life changed. Because let me tell you, life got turned upside down. Let's history. And now, an order from Colonel Wood of the 7th Alabama Regiment, Confederate Army. As of this day, November 16th, 1861, Chattanooga is under martial law. All orders given by the military must be obeyed by the townspeople. No one is allowed to leave the town. The railroads and roads in and out of town are guarded. No one can leave. Those supporting the Union will be arrested. After the arrival of troops in November and the shock of being under martial law, life slowly returned to normal. The closed businesses reopened and people went about their daily activities. However, early in February 1862, federal troops began a fighting campaign to take control of the Mississippi Valley with the aim of eventually getting to East Tennessee and taking over the railroad lines. Confederate troops were defeated in Nashville, and Nashville was evacuated. These were refugees and wounded soldiers as a result of the defeat, and they were put on trains to our town, Chattanooga. A telegram arrived from General Albert Sidney Johnson, which ordered, "Prepare as best you can for the reception of some 1,000 or 1,200 sick and convalescent soldiers from this army and from the hospitals of Nashville. They will be sent forward as far and as fast as cars can be supplied." Major Anderson, who was responsible for the troops coming from Nashville, described the situation thusly. "When the first train arrived with some 300 on board, they were in a most pitiable state. They had been stowed away in box cattle cars for 18 hours, without fires and without any attention other than such as they were able to render to each other. Tears filled the eyes of many at the depot when these 4 fellows were taken from the cars, so chilled and benumbered that a majority of them were helpless. 2 other trains came the following day, with men in the same condition. 3 soldiers were found dead in the cars. 1 died in the depot before removal, and another died on the way to the hospital. The townspeople responded. Seeing the sick and wounded touched their hearts, no matter what side they supported. The hotel was turned into a hospital. Homes were used to nurse the wounded. There weren't enough beds, so frames were quickly built, and women pitched in to make bed sacks to put on the beds. Women were feeding the troops. Bread was baked and coffee brewed to feed the hungry. Here follows a set of primary sources from the time. This first one is from Private J R Montgomery, a Confederate who was mortally wounded in 1864, gracefully accepted death as a natural part of a soldier's life. On paper stained with spots of blood from his wound, Montgomery wrote this note to his father in Mississippi, which would be the last time. "Dear Father, this is my last letter to you. I have been struck by a piece of shell and my right shoulder is horribly mangled, and I know death is inevitable. I know death is near and that I will die far from home and friends of my early youth, but I have friends here too who are kind to me. My friend, Fairfax, will write you at my request and give you the particulars of my death. My grave will be marked 58, that you may visit if you desire to do so. Give my love to all my friends. My strength fails me. May we meet in heaven. Your dying son, J R Montgomery. Now we have a quote from John Parker, a black soldier who fought for the Confederate Army. Yes, for the Confederate Army. But when he had his chance, he went to the Union Army. In this quote, he described his feelings about the Battle of Bull Run. There were 4 colored men in our battery. I don't know how many there were in the others. My work was to hand the balls and swab out the cannons. The officers aimed the guns. We fired grape shot. I felt bad all the time and thought every minute my time would come. I felt so excited that I hardly knew what I was about and felt worse than dead. We wished to our hearts that the Yankees would win, and we would have run over to their side, but our officers would have shot us if we made the attempt. In other words, while he's fighting for the Confederates, he's actually hoping that his own side loses. What a remarkable thing to have to fight through, to have to wrap your head around. Finally, Thomas Livermore, a captain for the New Hampshire Infantry, recalls the Battle of White Oak Swamp, another battle of that summer's campaign. The enemy's fire was unremitting. From noon until dark, we endured the slow torture of seeing our comrades mangled, killed, and torn around us, while we would not fire a shot, as our business was to lie and wait to repel attacks, and protect our batteries. With every discharge of the enemy's guns, the shells would scream overhead and bury themselves in the woods beyond, burst over us and deal death in their ranks, or ricochet over the plain, killing whenever they struck a line. The shot hit some of our men and scattered their vitals and brains upon the ground, and we hugged the earth to escape this horrible fate. But nothing could save a few who fell victims there. From those readings, it really sticks to me that this is something I could never comprehend, never understand, having never been in battle. And even today, those who are in battle, I wonder if they really could understand what it would have been like in this situation, where some people are fighting on one side and hoping that the other side wins. Others, they see carnage all around them to where they know a shot to any of their limbs and that limb's probably going to be gone. The catastrophic wounds and injuries that bubbled up as easy as a pot boiling on the stove. It's remarkable and disturbing. All right, so this is a tough time. Hard for us to grapple with what's really going on here. Hopefully those primary sources, though, put you into the feeling of what it would have been like for a soldier, and if you'd stayed home, if you were in a town that had been taken over by troops. It would have been a difficult situation to be in. Okay, I know this is heavy and this is deep, and hopefully you're getting a little better idea of what it would have been like to fight in one of the worst wars in the history of our country. This is just part 1 of 4 parts. Hopefully you got a little bit out of this and you'll stick around for the next 3. In the meantime, share, like, subscribe. We'll see you next time. Peace.